Hey everybody, thanks again for joining us this week at KonKon's Cantina. Major spoiler warning for the Disney Plus original series The Mandalorian, Chapter 7, The Reckoning. If you haven't watched it already, pause the podcast, come back and join the conversation. You can talk with us over at Instagram at KonKon's Cantina, Facebook.com/KonKon's Cantina. We also have a Facebook group, and YouTube.com/KonKon's Cantina. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to the podcast, Apple, Spotify, even YouTube. If you're interested in working with us, feel free to send us an email at konkonscantina@gmail.com. If you didn't know, we just released 2 bonus episodes on Rise of Skywalker. Both are spoiler-free. 3 weeks from now, me and the boys plan to sit down and record our spoiler cast for Rise of Skywalker, so keep a look for our bonus episode. So, without further ado, here's Chapter 7, The Reckoning.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Don't you agree?
Chapter 7, guys. Listen.
We back.
We're here. Justin with the late. And listen, I can't even call him Justin because I don't know what he's going to call himself this week. So to my left is Justin.
Yeah, I'm on a Yahoo pool. You can get at me at justinbaker@yahoo.com.
I used to play Yahoo Pool. And sitting directly across from me, always usually the tallest man in the room.
Usually. Russell Allen, magistrate.
And our guest this week, sitting here to my right.
It's Roberto Carbona, a.k.a. Jedi Carmona on PSN.
PSN. We're going to gloss over that. But anyway, guys, listen. You already know the drill. We are a Cantina podcast, so we're going to head in the Cantina right now.
Welcome to KonKon's Cantina. What are you having? But remember, no droids.
This week, I am drinking one of my favorite bourbons. This is Old Forester Prohibition, the 1920. It's a good pour. You can usually get it. We actually got it at Costco. I got it. It was $69.99, and I got the Prohibition and the regular Old Foresters. You
said you got the 1920 right now? Is that what you said?
Yeah, this is the 1920.
Yeah, I have that at home too.
Yeah, it's got that amazing teal label. Really good. Mm-hmm. Justin, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm finishing up some Jameson, but what I brought to drink tonight, which I will crack open, is a really cool beer that I found. It is called Triangulation, and what's cool about it, it's an Imperial Oatmeal Stout, but this is a combo collective. Cigar City, Perrin Brewing, and Oscar Blues, all three kind of got together to make this one beer. It's super good. I've already had one earlier tonight. It's delicious. It's a perfect cold weather, camping, out in a cool night beer. It's an Imperial Oatmeal Stout, which I definitely recommend if you can find one.
Russell?
Yeah, Happy Hermit Pale Ale over here. It's from the Green Bench Brewing Company. I'm not a big fan of IPAs, but this one's got a really good flavor. It's kind of a bright lemony citrus kind of smell, aroma to it, which kind of maybe offsets the hoppiness, so maybe that's why I like it.
Yeah, I like a lot of citrus in my... I like citrusy beers.
Yeah, and I'm also drinking a homemade old-fashioned made with Sexton Irish whiskey, which I got a little bit of flack for that earlier.
And
this
hold
evening.
On, no simple syrup. You switch it up there too.
Yeah, just basically threw a few sugar cubes in there,
like a horse.
It was good. My good friend Roberto over here might say a few words on his old fashioned.
Yeah, I think I really like that old fashioned. I'm not accustomed to using the Irish whiskey there, but I definitely like the taste, and I'll definitely have another, but let's try using a different type of sugar next time.
Yeah, that was my fault. I'm an old-fashioned purist, and it is definitely
rye.
It's rye
so
whiskey. Yeah,
it's
rye. It's rye whiskey or nothing. But so the agenda for this episode, like we established, we've moved our news towards the end so that we can get into the Mandalorian recap sooner. For those of you who are here for that, and then after that, we will be having the embarrassing story by Roberto this week. So of course, stick around for that. He says it's really good. He says it's good.
It's good.
It's good?
Like
all right. He says it's good.
It's embarrassing.
All right, good. So, the reoccurring segment on our show when we do have a new guest, my personal favorite is our Star Wars saga. So Roberto is actually going to tell us his Star Wars saga right now.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna be. I've seen the Phantom Menace and all that, so in the theaters, but I couldn't really remember that. I was really young, but it really stuck out to me was Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, keep in mind, I have seen all the classics. My mom introduced it to me, and I'd loved Star Wars ever since.
So you had seen them before the theater.
But I feel like that moment I had at the theater, watching Yoda pull out his lightsaber, spoiler alert, I don't know if
No, at this point, if you haven't seen Attack of the Clones,
that's on you. That's on you.
You're listening to the Ron podcast.
The theater went off in a roar.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It was amazing, and I had goosebumps. I'll never forget it, and it just truly showed me how huge the fandom is. So that was definitely that's my moment right there.
So what is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Definitely Empire Strikes Back. I'm definitely a classics guy.
Man, I watched that last night actually.
Empire.
I would say Rogue One is like my second favorite.
That's my second. Also,
okay.
That's my second. Yeah, Rogue One is ridiculous.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah. There were some parallels to Rogue One in this episode, and there was some a heated argument that reminded me of Rogue One. We'll get into that.
Well, Roberto, Roberto's actually a special guest because he has probably one of the biggest extensive knowledge base on Star Wars.
Don't you dare say that.
He is the biggest Trekkie of the show.
He is the biggest Trekkie. No, I wouldn't dare say that because Connor's looking at me rolling his eyes right now. But
I was gonna make a Trent Wells joke, but I subverted.
Connor is the biggest Trekkie.
It is, yes.
So I was just gonna say it's a pleasure to have a Trekkie. No, I'm sorry, a Star Wars a Star Wars fan.
I like Star Trek. Don't get me wrong, but just don't mix them up. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you here, and we're glad to have you.
Thanks for having me.
So guys, listen, you're here. Mandalorian, okay? First of all, we have one episode left.
Wow.
Single tier.
One episode, many tiers.
Yeah.
Seems like it has flown by.
It's an emotional roller coaster.
What are we going to talk about when it's over now?
Yeah, right. Yeah,
My life is going to be over.
We're going to have plenty to talk about Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
But yeah, we've got one episode left. Last week we kind of talked about how we didn't really know what the arc was. A lot of, and I've seen that complaint across the board.
That was my personal biggest fear, is that they weren't going to pull it together.
Yeah, things hadn't been fleshed out enough. We were kind of, last episode was just like a heist. It wasn't moving the plot point. And nobody has said like, hey, by the way, breaking the fourth wall, audience, the whole point of the show is protecting Baby Yoda at all costs. But now we can really see that this is the arc of the show. And we'll obviously get into that. So
this has become, I think, my favorite episode of the series of this first season so far.
It's still number one is still my favorite. But yeah, this one was obviously good.
Number one had that shock value too.
This and number three,
the big reveal of.
I mean, I was like straight up.
Yeah,
I threw down some ugly words when I saw them for the first time, and then my wife had a friend over, and she's like, "Calm down,
calm down."
I can't.
You don't understand.
You don't understand what is happening.
Yeah. And then chapter 3 with all of the Mandos rocket packing in was a glorious episode.
Most
also,
beautiful thing I've ever seen.
Ridiculous. Well. This week's special segment is we are going to be talking about our favorite extended universe books. Last week we talked about our favorite canon books, which has been extremely narrowed down, and we're not going to get into how we apparently have no source material via Kathleen Kennedy. But that's why we're here. We're going to tell you that there is a larger Star Wars universe now. We have all these new books, we have TV shows, we have comic books. So if you are interested in getting more lore and more detail, and that's exactly what we're going to be talking about.
And even though stuff isn't canon, they're pulling from this non-canon information and slowly implementing stuff. So it's not like you're wasting your time to read these stories. It's not like it's a total moot point just to actually read one of these books.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, most people that are seeking out additional Star Wars information, they're not going to have a problem with an extended universe book not being canon.
And what Justin was saying is they are borrowing a lot from Legends.
Yeah, definitely.
And Jaina and Jason Solo are kind of like their take on Kylo and Rey, if they are related. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll find out.
I really feel like they just oust all these books because they were trying to get their thoughts together, I guess, where the story was going, because some of the stories can get a little crazy. but I feel like now they're getting organized and they might bring bits and pieces to it. So we're definitely seeing that, like you mentioned, and hopefully they'll bring more of them.
I hope so.
Yeah. So with that being said, my favorite extended universe book is the Darth Plagueis book. Now my favorite trilogy as a whole, Russell's going to bring out is Darth Bane. I'll leave that to Russell. The reason why the Darth Plagueis book is my favorite, and this will actually directly affect the main Star Wars story that we have now. We get so much more information about where Palpatine has come from. Spoiler alert, he murders his entire family. So this is how we get this character who is literally a rich boy
with the Force. Too,
yeah,
man.
like from the streets,
Force ability,
from the streets of Theed on Naboo, like literal big rich family, politicians, all this stuff, and to give himself to the dark side, just like how Ben kills Han Solo, and Luke, betrays the Jedi, or Anakin betrays the Jedi Order. Palpatine literally murders his entire family, and we find out how he's trained by Darth Plagueis. During this time, this is before the tale of Darth Plagueis is being told, and there's a lot of black.
It gives you an origin story for Palpatine.
Exactly, and we don't really have that. We just have this big guy in a hood.
He's already super old.
That literally lived next door to the Jedi Temple, and nobody knew he was the bad guy. But
for years, ruled over him.
So anyway,
what's interesting too, Connor, and I don't know if you brought this out, but obviously Plagueis was made canon. The name. In Revenge of the Sith. Of course, the story and everything, the backstory isn't, but so elements of the book are canon.
And it is a little bit misleading because the book is called Darth Plagueis, but don't be misled, it is a Palpatine book.
True.
Absolutely, yeah.
Justin, what's your favorite EU book?
So I went a different route than I planned originally. I thought I was going to do something from the Thrawn trilogy because it's my favorite EU trilogy.
You always do this, Justin.
I know.
You're like, I'm going to do this book, and then at the last
I tell you guys one thing, and the last minute I switch it up.
Subverting expectations.
It works.
Ryan
you guys
Johnson,
he must be related.
I mean, he keeps me surprised every time.
You guys are never going to know what I'm going to talk about. I went into a book that I don't know if you guys have read. Have you read I, Jedi?
Oh, I thought this was the Jedi knitting book.
No, I, Jedi.
No, I, Jedi. Tell me more.
I, Jedi is an amazing book. It's written by Michael Stackpole. It came out in 98. The reason I picked this book is it's one of the earliest EU memories that I have doing something on my own, which was going to the library. I rode my bike all the way to the library, got an audio book version of this from the library with like 8 cassettes.
I was gonna say total. It was in that plastic thing that clicked together.
It was like a Disney movie
4
case,
on
but
each
with
side.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Audible before Audible existed.
Yeah.
I took that thing home. I listened to it probably 4 or 5 times, and it's really an awesome book. If you guys haven't checked it out, it is jam packed with story.
Wore out them cassettes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, before I gave it back to the library for free.
Yeah.
But the book is awesome because it's got a lot of different stuff. It's all about a character who is started out in Coruscant. He then went on, which I'm not even saying his name, Horn, who started out in Coruscant, went on to be part of Rogue Squadron. And basically he gets back from a mission. His wife is gone. He has no idea where his wife went. And it gets into so many awesome things. It gets into Luke is there. Luke is trying to start a Jedi temple.
Yeah, what's the era?
This is 8 years after Return of the Jedi.
Okay.
So Luke is trying to start a Jedi temple. He finds out that he's Force sensitive, so he trains with Luke on Yavin 4 at the very first class of Luke's Jedi temple. We get a little bit of Mara Jade who filters in. We get some Exar Kun, which is amazing. An entire little mini story with Exar Kun in there.
Dude, Exar Kun is like one of my favorite Siths. Yeah.
He ends up dipping out of there, and then he gets into like full on Coruscant agent training kicks in. He infiltrates pirates. Dude, this book is just awesome. It's one story, but it feels like it's an entire like trilogy of stories together in one book, and it's written really well. The whole thing is told in first person, which is a cool little tweak from normal stories.
Mm-hmm. So definitely sounds like it's worth the time to listen.
Oh yeah,
and this is
I
Jedi.
I, Jedi.
Okay.
Russell.
It was really hard to narrow it down. There are so many expanded universe Legends books that have been made or that have been written throughout the years. But ultimately, I settled on the first book, since we had to pick one book of a trilogy.
That
the
was
first
hard.
book of Darth Bane trilogy. Darth Bane, for the audience who's listening who don't know, he was the one who, by the way, is canon. In the last season, the last episodes of Clone Wars.
Season 6, the character itself is canon, but his books are not.
Right. And so obviously the backstory of Bane isn't canon, but there's elements in it that are. He was the Sith Lord who started the rule of two. He knew that ultimately the old Sith traditions of old were ultimately a dead end. They were obviously all craving power, and they all fought over power and would eventually just kill themselves, or kill each other. And that's why the Jedi would pretty much always win, because the Sith would just war among themselves. So he saw this as kind of a dead end. So this book is kind of his origin story. He starts out as a Cortosis minor, and he kind of shows his rough childhood, his abusive father, and the events of his life are shaping him in a way. And obviously, him being force sensitive, he's able to use his powers to win a bet in a bar, and basically a fight ensues with Republic soldiers, which...
Yeah, he was always really good at sabacc, and he never knew why.
Right.
He had the intuition, which was the Force, telling him when people were bluffing, and he could call people's bluffs.
No one in the bar, no one on the planet,
Yeah.
miners with him would play him, because they knew he would just beat him.
Yep.
But the Republic soldiers were fresh meat, so to speak, so he basically bled him dry. Anyways, a fight ensues, and he ends up killing the Republic soldiers. He's on the run. He joins the Sith army, and long story short, because he's force sensitive and he's ruthless, the Sith lords that are commanding the armies take notice of him, and he's trained on Korriban, which is the homeworld of the Sith Academy. And I don't want to spoil the whole book, but
which is now called Moraband, right?
Moraband, yeah.
Yeah, they for
George
canon,
Lucas
canon
just
reasons.
didn't like. That's all it is. George Lucas didn't like the name Korriban. He liked
Korriban sounds so cool.
Yeah, he liked Moraband better. So
It's not a good vacation destination, but
No.
I would go there. I mean,
it's like Egypt.
yeah,
Yeah, there you go.
Syria.
I would go there after the Sith were extinct, just to sightsee.
Well, I completely agree with Russell. The Darth Bane trilogy
It
is
is
it's
good.
absolutely ridiculous. Totally worth your time.
They could make a trilogy.
They
movie
better. They better.
of that, and that would draw so many people.
Roberto?
Definitely going to go with Star Wars Fate of the Jedi.
Okay.
This is a pretty big series, about 6 books. It was written by Aaron Alston. I don't know if I said that correctly. It came out around 2012. Anyways, it takes place at a time where Luke Skywalker pretty much has established the
New
Jedi Order.
Yeah,
you
New
know,
Jedi Order.
he's the Grand Master.
New
Yeah.
Jedi Order is a good series too.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good series. And it talks about Abeloth. Now, I'm not going to spoil too much of what Abeloth is. It is a really good read, and it really pays homage to the Clone Wars too, because Luke Skywalker mentions it. I won't say what exactly. I would suggest if you've seen the Clone Wars and you like the Clone Wars and the lore of it, and you'll definitely enjoy that series involving Abeloth. It really messes psychologically with the Jedi when it comes to that villain. So I really recommend that series.
Yeah,
I like
I'll
it.
write that one down for sure.
I've not checked that out.
You're
Now I
definitely
want to.
making me want to read it. And going back a couple years when we had a marathon at my house, you were mentioning that when we were doing Star Wars trivia, and it kind of slipped my mind. But now that you've brought it back up, it's really made me want to delve into it.
Well, you can get it for $7.
Oh, nice.
Well, guys, this week we are talking about Chapter 7, The Reckoning. So, as always, we get our cold cut open. We have all of our buckets with Kylo and Vader and R2-D2 and, of course, our Mando. And we start the episode by our Mando flying through space. Very Star Wars opening, as we see. Chubbs is sending our Mando a message. So, obviously, he is not dead. He is encouraging him to come back to Navarro so that he can take care of the Imperial threat that is now threatening the city and the Bounty Hunter Guild of Navarro.
He's like, we're cool, bro. Don't worry, just come back.
Yeah, he's like,
everything's good.
I'm not dead.
We're even.
We're not dead. You're not dead. Come on. Come back.
So
It goes
not a
to
trap.
show you that he didn't. I mean, I guess it's not confirmed, but we were talking about in a previous episode how it looked kind of like Mando was aiming for the Beskar because he knew it was there.
Yeah.
He just kind of wanted to knock him out of the ship, like, get out of here, boy. Ta-ting!
And after this conversation, it appears that the plan is to use the child, Baby Yoda, as bait. so that the Mando can then kill the Imperial, or that's at least what Chubb is telling him. Mando knows that he's going to need backup. By using the Razor Crest and using his flight nav, Mando flies back to a similar planet, one that we're already familiar with, Sorrigan. No doubt he is there looking for Cara Dune. We then get a cold cut open of Cara completely being an MMA fighter. The actual female herself the actress is a former MMA champion, fighting a Zabrak. Loved the Zabrak.
Oh yeah,
That was awesome.
Dude was massive.
I could not remember any other time in a live action that we saw a Zabrak besides Darth Maul. I mean, there's plenty that were in Clone Wars and Rebels and stuff, but
the episode where all the Mandos come through.
Well, he's saying besides.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Besides, okay.
They're doing awesome with bringing in these species that you've seen maybe 100 times.
Yeah.
Either drawn, animated, something like that. That you know them and you know their faces and you know their features.
I think
they're pulling them in practical effect, makeup, and costumes. Awesome.
And I think the closest thing that we get is the cinematic trailers to the Old Republic computer game, the MMO.
Oh yeah.
The Shatil San, I can't remember her former master.
Shatil Shan?
Yeah, but her master, he was a Zabrak, and it was cool because this Zabrak, a lot of people see Darth Maul or Savage Opress, and they're completely tattooed, and
full
people
face tats.
Yeah,
That's
they
what you
think well full body. Yeah, full body. Yeah, they think that they're colored, but they're actually a humanoid species. They come in
flesh,
tan, pale white as me. Olive, like they come in human colors. They don't come fully tattooed. I thought that was really cool. So
I like that the I don't know if you're gonna get to the rope, the electric rope.
I don't have it, but yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, it was awesome because it totally harkened back to episode 1 where Anakin's like, don't get your hand caught in the whatever plasma beam because it'll go numb for weeks or
and
days.
our favorite character Jar Jar falls right into it, right?
Yeah, of course. He drops his wrench and he goes
Darth Lord.
But it
Jar
looked
Jar.
like in this Darth Jar Jar. It looked like in this though that I mean maybe their hands went numb, but they were using it as like a legit rope. At one point she's like strangling him with it, and that's when he has to turn it off, and I guess that's
you notice he taps out.
Yeah, that's how
I
he
didn't catch
taps
that
out.
the first time. Like
That's
he
what I
taps
was
that
gonna
little
say.
the belt buckle thing. That's how.
So
he
it's kind of
goes up.
like hitting the floor 3 times. I'm out.
Towards after the fight, she sits down at the table to talk business with Mando, but she is such a sweetheart to that guy. She's like, come back again, after he pays his credits and all that stuff. I find that interesting. She's so tough fighting and all that, but she's like super nice when you're
once she
her.
got her fix of her spotchka addiction that she developed.
Yeah.
You noticed that.
Yeah, that's true.
And the whole point of this was obviously a bet. Many spectators of the planet Sorgon are putting bets. They're putting bets on the Zabrak. They're putting bets on Cara. As was brought out, she puts him into a chokehold. He then taps out, Uncle, and he wins the fight. As the crowd clears, Mando then walks up to Cara, and he is offering her a job as always. He needs help. Mando and Cara go over the job that the Mando needs her help with. He explains that this is a normal operation, and once he then puts in that this is that they're going after an Imperial, being a former rebellious. My goodness,
That's all she needed.
that's all she needed. Yeah, once she heard that they were going
She was,
after.
no, don't really want to do it. He's
I'm
an
retired.
ex-Imperial.
He was busting out like every argument, and then when he mentioned Imp, she's like, "Oh yeah, on board."
Oh yeah, I'm in.
And it's just interesting because she mentioned that the chain code. Have you heard that term before? Chain code.
Yeah, we heard
In
that
The
in episode
Mandalorian.
1.
Okay. And then also the fact that she would basically rot in a cell the rest of her life if she were to even step foot on a Republic ship.
And that goes back to.
What did she do?
I think
It
she
goes back to
deserved
Did she
episode-
kill someone she shouldn't
No,
have killed?
it goes back. She's a deserter.
Yeah.
It goes back to episode 4. She
deserted
after.
that.
I missed that point.
Yeah,
that she was a deserter.
she leaves the rebellion because she didn't want to be a bodyguard for new delegates that were being introduced to the New Republic. It's not what she signed up for. She's a soldier.
She was a bodyguard.
She didn't want to be that, so she's a deserter. So she left. So after she agrees, they take off on the ship. Cara is gazing in awe at the Mandalorian's personal armory. Baby Yoda then spies on the two as they are having a
Great little
conversation.
scene.
Yeah, my
That was
dude is just Spider-Man hanging from
What
the
was
ceiling.
he holding on?
I don't know,
Straight
but
up floating with the Force, probably. Yeah.
well, I was watching it and I was like, what is he doing? And then, of course, Mando and Cara are thrown down to the floor by Baby Yoda piloting the Razor Crest.
Being very mischievous.
Do you think that he was just doing that because
He was
it
seeing
looked
his mom
fun?
and dad were watching.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
it's interesting because it also could be taken like he didn't want to go back. He's like, no, I don't want to go back to this planet. I have bad memories of
He
this
was
planet.
listening to that conversation, so he was like, "Oh,
So
I'm
it's
gonna go back
possible.
up there."
But then at the end, if you listen to it with subtitles, he's like, like
It's
laughing
all
like a
the
little
coos.
boy. Like that was fun.
So I rewatched Empire last night, and this made me immediately think of Luke landing on Dagobah and Yoda just getting into every little thing, going through all this stuff,
A little
just
flashlight.
being mischievous, pressing buttons,
singing seagulls,
clicking things, pressing buttons, pulling knobs.
Yeah,
Maybe it's their
yeah.
species. They just like to tinker.
Just curiosity. And we saw that, Baby Yoda was pushing his luck in prior episodes, pressing a lot of buttons that, he wasn't supposed to press. So
He likes to play.
after this, Cara and Mando agree that they need help with Baby Yoda. They literally need a babysitter. After Mando establishes that there is only one person in this entire galaxy that they can trust, and that being Quill, the former Ugnaught that we come to love so much, the
I have spoken.
himself. So after that, they fly to Quill. They go up to Quill, and, Quill says, obviously, you're here because you need help. They're inside of his house, and IG-11 walks in. Blaster's drawn very quickly because Cara and Mandalorian do not trust IG-11.
They also speculated that he might be Strandcast or basically an engineered species in that scene, if you caught it.
Yep.
He worked on the gene farms.
Yeah, I noticed
The
that
Imperial
too.
gene
And they
farms.
said he couldn't be engineered. He's too ugly. He's
Yeah.
involved.
And then he looks at Cara and she's like, well, not necessarily her. She looks like she could be engineered.
Yeah, and Quill, like you said, he brings up his prior work history, and it kind of helps us to understand that I take, we got to take what we get on the screen. I say that a lot, and this helps us to understand that Baby Yoda is most likely not a clone.
That's the way I took it.
That's the way I took it. Yeah,
he's got experience in creating bio life from cells.
Yeah,
and he's saying no, it's not a clone.
When I think of strand, I think of like maybe something that's not whole. If you look at a DNA spiral, just a strand would be a piece.
DNA.
Yeah, thank you. 90s baby coming in. And maybe Quill has seen this species before. He's been around the block, but anyway, IG-11 walks in. Blaster's drawn. Quill then explains that he has fixed and reprogrammed the IG unit, and there's nothing to worry about. We then get a montage.
Thank you.
I love the montages of Quill spending his time reprogramming him and teaching him just daily menial tasks that he had to completely relearn. The pressure points of his hands and walking and
squashing compies.
Yes.
Did you guys think this? I mean, not that it wasn't awesome. I mean, they love the montages in this show, but did you think this sequence was like necessary? I mean, to show him, it was cool, but when it was going on, I couldn't help but think this is like the Canto Bite scene in Last Jedi.
I have a feeling.
Necessary?
I feel like I have a feeling that IG-11 is going to definitely have a role to play in the next episode.
That's what I.
So that's
very
probably
good point, yes.
why they showed that whole.
And they made a point to say that he was developed personality through this retraining. It's not that he was what he used to be. He made it a point. He had his affirmation and positive training that Quill was giving him, and he said specifically he's developed his own personality through this.
Yeah,
and he's there to protect.
You said when we were watching it, Justin, that it looked like those Japanese robot videos. Where they're like
the YouTube
testing
videos,
their beta and
Japanese
alpha.
Creating the Terminators that will kill us all.
People have not watched the Terminator enough. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
True.
So
chill on robots. People.
I love IG-11 though. It was an awesome sequence.
Mando then explains that he does not want the IG-11 robot watching Baby Yoda at all. Quill then explains to him that droids are not good, nor are they bad. They are basically only of their programming.
They're neutral. He said they're neutral.
They are neutral. Yeah. So Quill then puts his trust on the line, knowing that our Mandalorian is a man of honor, explaining to him that if he trusts him, that he needs to trust the IG unit. Along with the help of Quill and the IG unit, they load up 3 blurgs, and then they are on their way to Navarro.
No, I was just going to say that it's funny that it's kind of similar to the whole Cara thing where she wasn't biting on any of the bait that Armando was laying in front of her until he said it was an imp that's holding her. And then with Quill, it wasn't anything that he offered until the slavery thing. Like, I will help only because I don't want this creature to become a slave to the Empire.
That's a good point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought that was really neat, kind of a parallel there between the two characters.
So back on the Razor Crest on their way to Navarro, Mando and Cara begin to arm wrestle. as it seems that Mando is beginning to struggle and lose this fight.
Dead heat.
Finally, we get to see another Force power and a dark side one.
And
at
Baby
that.
Yoda reaches out, and with the Force, he begins to choke Cara.
A blatant dark side power.
Yeah.
Lay this out now.
Dark,
Yeah, absolutely.
dark side for sure.
Mando begs
I
and
mean, Luke
begs.
uses it.
Does he?
Yeah. He chokes the, what's in... I keep doing it. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I didn't want to get into like a full blown because it'll be Tangent City.
why not? Let's
Because
talk about it.
no new canon in no way, shape, or form ever says that Force choke is a dark side ability.
That is true. It
Just
does
saying.
not state
And
that.
then in Return of the Jedi is what you're talking about when
Yeah,
he
Luke-
chokes.
Luke uses...
Bib
the-
Fortuna?
Oh, yeah.
Or no, it wasn't.
No,
Bib
it wasn't
Fortuna.
Bib Fortuna. It was one of the guards.
The Gomorians.
Yeah, the Gomorians, yeah.
Gamorreans.
That's
Gamorreans.
true.
Gamoras?
Gamorrean guard.
Gamora?
Gamora.
No, that's true. I totally forgot about that. So
Yeah.
not a blatant dark side ability. Well,
Like even as a whole, if you look at like
Justin's wrong again.
non-canon like Force users or like non-canon Siths, like there are Force abilities that are blatantly Sith. Like we have Red Lightning, we have Force Drain. Like
I think I'm pulling it from the games.
yeah,
Like Knights of the
Yeah.
Old
Oh,
Republic.
for sure.
Totally,
You
yeah.
can't
Yeah.
have Force choke unless
Unless-
you're on the dark side.
You don't see it. I mean, look at the prequels. You had all these powers. Like most of the time, they're basically just Force pushing, Force pulling, augmenting their lightsaber abilities
Yeah.
with the Force. They're not Force choking. It wasn't until Revenge of the Sith when Anakin Force chokes Padme
But he's
You know,
dark side, yeah.
that he's like, oh, he just got it done killing younglings. So, I mean,
I'm definitely not saying it's not a dirty trick. I'm just saying like new canon we have not gotten like, oh yeah, by the way, like new canon.
They
Force
use it more
lightning.
like if it was a defense mechanism kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's not like a full Force lightning, like pulling from the dark side.
Yeah,
type
exactly.
Of a
You
move.
notice how, I don't know if you guys noticed, just the emotion that Baby Yoda was showing
yeah.
while he was choking. He was genuinely concerned about,
Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was furrowing his brow too.
yeah,
Almost like he was mad
he was mad at I
at
don't
something.
know, he saw something.
It was
He was-
protective,
he
in
was
my
protecting
opinion.
his
Yeah,
daddy.
definitely
Which-
protecting Dad.
This
Mando.
episode came out 12 hours ago, and I've already seen the memes of the rage choke Baby Yoda already popping up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Oh, I cannot
Do it.
wait to see those. Like, looking forward to that.
Oh, yeah.
Mando begs Baby Yoda to stop. Him and Cara are friends. Quill states that now the Mudhorn story makes more sense.
Mhm.
A very intense moment then ensues between Quill and Cara talking about the heritage of Quill being in service to the Empire. This was the scene that I talked about that reminded me of Rogue One. They're standing there, they're arguing, they're in this ship just like...
I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old.
Exactly. Cassian and Jin arguing,
Nah, Connor does it better than me. That was a poor imitation.
Should I do it
You
again?
should
Yes,
do it
you should
'cause-
definitely.
I have been wanting to make a podcast since I was 6 years old.
Oh, that is dead on. You should-
Suddenly Star Wars is real to you. Some of us actually live it.
that is good. Oh, yeah. Even like his lip movements, everything match up to exactly.
Dude, I
right.
cannot wait
He's
for the
watched Rogue
Cassian.
One way too many times.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie. I love
That
that
movie's
movie.
great.
Second favorite movie, right?
Second favorite.
Second.
Can we
But-
talk a little bit about how Quill has heard rumors of this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is post Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
Luke
you-
is out there.
Oh,
you
yeah.
say you say your train of thought and I'll say mine.
I have a train of thought.
Okay, and then Russell.
But I
don't
think one of you is probably have mine.
Good.
I don't necessarily have a train of thought. I just thought it was awesome. This is post Return of the Jedi. Luke is out there. The rebels are heroes. They've become the Republic,
Uh-huh.
but he's still not mainstream somehow, or at least in this era.
But who
Or
is
this-
mainstream?
I don't know.
Darth Vader.
Right. That's what I was going.
Oh yeah.
And Quill was
I
in
mean,
service
Darth
to him.
Vader's
like,
how
connect
many?
those dots.
We just saw a few of the officers that he.
Yeah,
killed.
exactly. And
I mean, he probably. You know what?
every single time, the
The
Ugnaughts
Darth
are
Vader comics. How many guys did he? Officers, women, and men did he kill at once?
dude
when-
in Empire alone. My
He
dude
had, like, 18
my
guys.
dude like promotes like 16 admirals.
But think
Yeah.
about this: in the Darth Vader comics, which me and you love, right?
Yeah.
It's a great comics.
When Palpatine was introducing him, like, you guys probably haven't met my new guy over here, but anything that he says,
I love that scene. That's so
you
good.
know, it's like when I'm talking. You know,
Yeah.
take his words as my words. And then he's like, he randomly calls 5 officers to the front, and I'm talking. This is an assembly. Like, there's hundreds.
Everybody's there.
of stormtroopers.
Cousins,
Everybody.
second cousins,
Yeah.
twice removed. All of them.
And he randomly chooses 5 officers from him to stand in the front. You didn't know what was going to happen. You thought, okay, well, he's just going to, kind of accuse him of, because someone did try to make an attempt on Darth Vader's life. Anyway, so he just kills 5 force chokes 5 of them all at once, right in front of this massive assembly.
He straight up admits that he doesn't know, that any of them might have been innocent or not. He's just trying to show some power.
So anyways, there's a lot of guys that he kills.
Yeah, and the Ugnaught, he probably heard the rumors of this force choke.
Around.
Yeah, that's very very pointed, very pointed. So.
It's not like
And
my Uncle Billy dropped dead.
Had a phone.
Cousin Nita just got killed last week, but
And to me, history is remembered by the winner. The rebels are the winner. Luke is the hero of the rebellion. How do these people not know this?
Imperial propaganda.
They're gone.
We digress. Mando then further continues to talk about his disdain for IG-11, not just droids in general. He brings up to Cara that is IG-11 specifically. He
Which
says
is
that
not true.
He has tried to kill Baby Yoda. He says that this is his programming, and even though he is further programmed, and he kind of backpedals on his trust for Quill. He establishes that, I trust you, I trust your programming, and then in private, he is telling Cara that he still does not trust the unit. Landing on the outskirts of Navarro, Mando and his crew meet with Chubbs and his crew of bounty hunters. Chubbs has some concern for Cara being an obvious former drop trooper of the rebellion, and this could endanger the mission. That's exactly. The tattoo gives her away immediately. After showing Chubbs that Baby Yoda is there, they agree to make camp at Sunset. Sorry.
A little pod wing.
Yeah, in the little pod
Oh,
wing.
so I have something written down here. Bod wing? Is that what he said? B-O-G wing?
I thought he said pod wing because he's in a little pod.
I don't know. Whatever it was, I thought it was slang.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking it's what attacks them later on the campfire. Like, he knows because he's been on that planet for a while.
Could be, yeah. I didn't even think about
Little
that.
baby version.
Yeah.
I just thought those
The
were
cute-
Florida mosquitoes.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, let's be
You ever
real.
been to Alaska? Mosquitoes are that big.
Yeah, are they? Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
say
It
that
gets worse
They
than
jokingly
Florida?
say that's the state bird up there.
Yeah. I don't know. That's our state bird.
that scene reminds me a lot about Pitch Black. I don't know if you've ever seen.
Oh, with Vin Diesel.
Yeah, with Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
I
Riddick.
haven't seen that.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah.
First
It straight up startled me. Like, the second time I watched it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was
I
coming.
thought someone was gonna get cut.
Comes
in
out
half
of
because that.
nowhere.
And so let's get into that scene right now. So after they make camp, they're sitting there, they're making small talk, they are talking about the job that is ensuing, the reason why they are there to go after the Imperial so that everybody can be free, including Baby Yoda. At this, these giant pterodactyl type dinosaurs just
Minot,
come out of
crazy
nowhere.
looking
They look like
things.
dragons. Seriously.
So, yeah, little tiny dragons. And after losing sub members, Chubb is found to be injured. After Cara
And
administers...
our boy's armor saves him yet again.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he
He got snagged. He got taken out, which we learned from Chubbs. Their claws are poisonous.
Right.
Yeah.
His armor saved him yet again.
Can we have a moment of silence for the two blurgs?
And the Trandoshan.
Yep, and the Trandoshan.
that's
Yeah,
right.
pour one out for the boys. We got to pour 3 out. Trandoshan carried away. My dude is being regurgitated.
How many
in some
Trandoshans have we seen in live? Is that the second one?
Dave Filoni does not like Trandoshans.
He's there.
Oh,
over
well,
him,
that's not true.
Over him. He's like, get him out of here.
Episode Chapter 2, we saw quite a few Trandoshans.
Yeah,
And
but
they
he's
all
like-
get their butt kicked. or
Yeah, they're
die.
all dying. They're all left and right. Like, it goes back to Solo. Someone just needs to hire Bosk. He's the only one, the only Trandoshan who can get anything done. Apparently,
I didn't know this, but if you look at the map over there, Trandosia is like literally on top of Kashyyyk. So it's like right next to each other. It's interesting.
Can we please get a Hunger Games style movie where Trandoshans and Wookiees fight each other?
We
Yes.
only saw that in the Clone Wars a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. When they do the hunt.
Yeah, they did the hunt.
We're gonna cover some Clone
Yeah.
Wars. So when we cover Clone Wars,
Oh, yeah.
we'll, yeah, that's happening. Chubbs, he's hurting. He's dying. Okay, the poison is spreading fast, and it seems like all hopes is lost. Everybody is standing there, they're looking, and nothing is happening. But finally, nobody interrupts our Baby Yoda. He places his amazing
Quill says
three-clawed,
let him go or let him continue or whatever he says.
the most beautiful little 3 fingers you've ever seen, claws and all, laid on Chubbs' hand. He kept Chubbs from actually losing his other hand, and he proceeds to force heal him.
I just love that this is a callback to Chapter 1, right? After
he
the
was
fight
trying
with the
to-
Trandoshan.
Chapter
trying-
2. Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, and he's
Yep.
trying to heal,
Mhm.
and he keeps
He's
picking
like,
him up.
stop it.
He picks him up, puts him back, and then he does it again.
Back
and
in
you're
your-
like,
back in your
please
crib.
don't.
Can we talk
stop
about
him.
how crazy fast he healed him? And
Yeah.
it was an open wound on that arm.
Yeah.
he didn't pass
Poison-
out? He was kind of
Poison
just
in
like,
the bloodstream. It wasn't just even a surface
Yeah.
wound.
Because
And they said it was spreading, and even Cara put a tourniquet on Chubbs' arm. If you notice,
He didn't
actually
have much
ties.
time.
Yeah,
He's
no.
just trying to cut the circulation.
That's like a snake
Yeah.
bite. Like, you're dead. It's just a matter of time.
Now
Wait.
we talked about it earlier that we only seen that healing ability once in New Hope. So
In canon, yeah.
Canon.
So the
the
scene.
scene where Obi-Wan,
Thanks. You want to take it from me some more? Yeah. So
The
Obi-Wan.
Tusken Raiders.
I thought he was just making sure he didn't have a headache,
Hey, you get hit with that gaffy stick, that'll cause some injury. So yeah, old Ben, Obi-Wan, somehow the same person, and somebody forgot that. Don't know how, but Obi-Wan, apparently that is the only canon on screen of Force Heal in the
I looked it
canonical
up
movies.
too. I think Connor and I both looked this up separately because there's countless records of in EU and video games using Force Heal. They're all wiped clean. This is the first time that it's in there, which if you went off of EU, he also used a Force ability and a Dark ability. He would be a Grey Jedi, but I'm not going to get into that.
Yeah, let's not
continue
get into
on.
Well, that was just, we talked about choking being a dark side ability. Is healing only a light side ability?
Canonically, yes.
Yeah.
So no words are spoken among the crew. They are absolutely flabbergasted on what they have seen. They have never seen anything like this. Not only is this species unknown, but they are using some sort of a magical power that nobody can understand. They don't know what's going on.
Except for Quill.
Can we talk about how awesome it was when Chubbs was like, he's got to eat me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was perfect. That was
he
perfect.
probably was afterwards.
Because they literally established that they're carnivorous. Yeah, and he was like, he's gonna
that's
eat
right.
me.
Right before that, yeah.
So as they walk up to the edge of the city, Chubb turns around, blasters drawn, and kills his two crews, saying,
Real quick.
like, my dude's got some moves. Now we see why he's the head of the Bounty Hunters Guild.
If he didn't aim for those two hunters, man, I don't know if Cara and Mando would have been able to stop that.
Well,
man.
I was going to say he was lucky that they didn't pull a trigger quickly in retaliation, which,
Crazy.
plot armor, but
almost there.
yeah, almost
Like
there. He explains to them that, of course, that this was not part of the plan. That after
I gotta tell you something.
he's got thanks, dude. It's like, yeah, we figured that this wasn't the plan, man. Us as audience watchers, we're like, Mando, stop.
Mando was like, spoiler alert, not,
Spoiler alert, they knew this was going to happen, so
That's why I brought these people.
yeah, so he kills them, and then he explains to them that he couldn't do what he could do, which was turn on them and betray them after what Baby Yoda did. Cara, of course, with her rebellion-type instincts, wants to kill Chubbs, but Mando simply puts his foot down and says that this is the only way that they can work together because the Imperial and the Empire will continue to hunt them down and go after Baby Yoda. Mando wants Baby Yoda to go back to the ship with the protection of Quill. I brought this point out. It almost looked like Quill handed the Mandalorian an Imperial Comlink. Now, I didn't get a chance to look in my Star Wars visual dictionary to see if it actually says Imperial Comlink or Comlink.
He hands him a comlink.
But I say Imperial Comlink because
What happens later?
well, Jedis have their own Comlink,
Yeah,
and it's
different.
called a Jedi Comlink.
Yeah.
Well,
they look different too. I think
they
the
look different
Imperial one's like a
completely.
white cylindrical looking.
White and black.
and it's the same ones that no doubtedly
and he's
Luke and Han.
He's ex-Imperial. So this is
Technically,
just
yeah.
this is his normal.
yeah,
This is
this
normal
could
tech.
be Gadget from
He's
his
not going
prior
to go to
service.
Radio Shack and pick up a new comlink. This is
Yeah.
the one that he's been using for years.
Well, I mean, they're out of business, so
not a
Yeah,
long
Radio
time
Shack.
ago.
yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, there you go.
Can we talk about how Quill is I like the dynamic between the three, Quill and Mando and the Shock Trooper. He's the voice of reason in the group.
For sure.
I really like how he calmed them down. It's like, okay, hold on, let him
Multiple
speak.
times.
And
Let
this,
him heal.
This follows the fairy tale hero's journey across all TV show and movie. We always have that older figure, like you're saying, that's bringing
Your
wisdom.
wide, you have your Ben. You have your yeah.
And what do they all have in common?
Wisdom.
They all
They're
die.
old.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting there. They all die.
Why you making me cry, brah?
Listen, we've shed tears and we shall shed more later. So they
Can
go.
we talk? Wait. Before we pass this, a big contention with the show is how many times has his ship been raided? He has a
Thank you.
security
I was
system.
thinking that-
Initiate ground security protocols. No one can get in.
Literally nothing on the
When would
planet
he
can
be planning
penetrate
on
my
using
security.
that?
Seriously.
What-
They were in the writers' room and they're like, George, we're all out of ideas. And out comes the bushel basket. And you know what that bushel basket had? A ground force security system. They said, listen, guys, we have had so many times where Mando didn't lock up his ship. Everybody's getting in. Baby Yoda's being left. Child services
Let's
is being
put a
called.
Viper alarm on this
Let's
thing.
do something. And they're like, hey, listen, we'll write it in. And they're like, okay, cool. So
No
they
one
write
will
it
notice.
in. No one will notice. It's called a gunship. I mean, hello,
We'll just go that Mando learned his lesson and got the gear somewhere at one point or something.
But he didn't
Mando
even get to
is
use
used to
it.
living in
He didn't
a
even get to
good
use it, man.
neighborhood.
We don't know that yet.
Our boy's used to living in a good neighborhood. He doesn't use his security system that often.
So the new plan is to give Mando himself to the client and a distraction of the egg that Quill has built, which is supposed to contain Baby Yoda. After being granted access to the city by 2 Imperial scout troopers, they then walk through the city, noticing that security is not what Chubbs told them. It almost would seem that an entire garrison is sitting here
Of
in
Euro
the city.
hipster stormtroopers.
Listen, a whole garrison is sitting in the city of Navarro. Quill rides quickly with Baby Yoda strapped to his chest with goggles on, and I loved this shot how he's on his blurg, and it's like the lava, and he's jumping around. I thought that
That's
was
a good
really
nice-
cool.
It's a very
Yeah.
cool planet.
That's a
I
cool
like
planet.
it.
After meeting with the original client that we meet in chapter 1,
Christoph Waltz.
Thank you. Christoph, the
Who I
Imperial
call-
officer, offers a drink in
Not his real
celebration
name.
to their success. He then makes comments about the beautiful Beskar steel that has been placed on Mando, and talks about hopes and dreams of how the Empire brings prosperity and other things to the galaxy. This kind of gave me a call
He's
back.
a true believer.
Exactly. This kind of gave me a call back to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith saying, I've brought peace and security to my new empire. That was a lot
That's
of
a nice
people.
connection.
Never
They
trust
really
people
think
that say they bring peace and security.
well, and also in Solo, when Han is questioning on that mud planet, like, why are we here? We're the invasive people here. This is their
Yeah.
home world.
Yeah.
And the lieutenant says, what's our objective here? And he says to bring upon a new regime of loyal to the Empire, to further this propaganda that the Empire kind of like
Controls.
Yeah, and definitely at times it's very Nazi-ish, very regime.
Oh, absolutely.
Very,
Even
yeah.
their costume design was close to that.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
World War
That's
II
World War
German.
II,
Yeah,
That's
for
a proven,
sure.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
The Imperial then excuses himself because he has to take a phone call from finally Moff Gideon.
We knew there was a moth. We
Gideon.
called that episode 1.
Yeah, but
Listen.
we thought the white-haired guy was.
But we knew there had to be a moth involved.
True.
Yeah. As he is taking this phone call, fire absolutely tears through the cantina. Don't worry, guys, we're safe.
He is pissed
not-
about Los Pollos Hermanos burning down.
Listen,
expecting
we
that.
were in the cantina. We were having our drinks, just like Mando, Chubbs, and Cara. We also took cover behind a table. Listen, our cantina is lost. Okay, we're starting a GoFundMe. We have to rebuild, but we find out that the reason why this was completely shot up because Death Troopers are locked
God.
on their
And
position
in come the 501st.
with all the 501st.
Can we talk about how they paid homage to that scene when there was a droid in the bar serving drinks?
Yeah.
Now, I thought it was regular stormtroopers at first shooting because they missed every time, almost completely missed a droid.
Oh yeah. They were
I
aiming
was
for
like,
some flesh.
okay, they're playing some homage to that, and then all of a
Oh,
sudden,
yeah.
droid's down. I'm like, okay, a special unit is here. That's why the droid got hit.
So I have a question. This won't be a tangent. Are these Death Troopers First Order Death Troopers or Imperial Death Troopers?
They're Imperials.
There are
Imperial.
no first.
The first orders in the unknown regions,
Oh, yeah.
regions at this point,
It's
and
way too
Darn.
early
they're
for the
tiny
First
little
Order.
sect.
I
I
was
will
just
die.
waiting for something like.
I'm amazed that there's this many Imperials left 5 years after.
I'm waiting for some type of snippet of information of these Imperial regime that's left over, still being
We already
fed.
have it. You guys are forgetting. We've all read the Aftermath trilogy. Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, not everybody joined. His name is escaping me, but in the Aftermath trilogy, that
Yeah.
guy, he tries to.
Hux's dad.
no.
or whatever.
No, it's the other guy, and I sound like an idiot. This Imperial is continuing. No,
Justin.
this Imperial is continuing to bring out the Palpatine's contingency plan, and he tries to pull all of the Imperials back. And remember, some of the Imperials
don't
they
wanna go.
refuse
Yeah.
to join him, and then their
Yeah.
last stand is at the Battle of Jakku. So everybody thinks that the threat was eliminated on Jakku, but
That
that's
was
not the
that-
case.
The guy from
Rex.
Battlefront.
Rex.
Oh, Rex.
Yeah.
Gallius Rex.
Gallius
Finally,
Rex.
Gallius Rex.
Which
is,
people thought that was Snoke for a while, and there was a little bit of that.
yeah, he's like third in command of the entire Imperial. And once again,
Yeah.
this is a canon book series, and this turned into
I'm
a
just
tangent.
waiting
Thank
for
you, Justin.
I'm waiting for some quick snippet of something that the First Order, who is out in wild space right now, being created, being built through the Emperor's plan, that there's somehow there is a remnant of ex-Imperials that are still loyal, that they're feeding almost like they're guerrilla operatives doing things for the First Order, but in the core systems.
I gotcha. As they are pinned down in this cantina, Mando calls out to Quill over his comlink, unknowingly alerting our 2 former scout troopers about the child. They then get on their scout bikes and they take off. A TIE fighter, a scene that we have never gotten in canonical Star Wars ever.
Yes.
Where the heck has
lands.
this TIE fighter been?
Dude,
Seriously.
well, the way that
It's
it
later
lands...
tech
all
than
my
anything
life
we've seen
I've been
also.
wanting to see
absolutely.
this.
It's later tech. It's
Well,
later in the timeline.
Hang on.
Yeah, but the Empire's been done for 5 years.
The only... like, this isn't something that we've ever seen because we, in the original Star Wars trilogy, or even the prequels, we didn't get TIE fighters fighting planetary. We only got
You get
that
them
in
landing
Rogue One.
on Lothal.
Yeah, but
They
do
land
they
with their
do that?
wings. They land with
Yeah,
their
they
wings.
land straight up
Yeah.
and down. Yeah, so this is like new. I don't know. I thought
This
that
is,
was weird.
This is new.
But
and then
you know,
ha-
even in Star Wars Rebels, you see that they throughout the Empire's always making new technology and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So.
well, think about Force Awakens when Poe breaks Finn out. Those TIE fighters aren't folding; they're like docked.
Yeah, they're
well,
like
and that's
side
usually
like
and
a-
that's usually how we see it. Is
Yeah.
they literally they're on a latch system, almost like a coat hanger, and they let them go and they fly out of the
Keep
hangar
in
bay.
mind, this is the Moff, so he has his own custom design probably
True.
for his own use.
That is very
well, he
true.
did come out of it like he's
Yeah,
a
like
mouse.
that's his
In
fighter.
full on Darth
Just
Vader
like
looking
Kylo Ren
armor.
has his own custom TIE
And
fighter.
as Roberto brought out, Moff Gideon finally stepping out of this TIE fighter.
I wanted to back up slightly. We
digress.
No. Yes, I'm gonna digress.
Mhm.
Before the white haired guy gets shot up, he says something to our man about how Mandalore refused expansion.
Mhm.
This is a little bit more information on this in this purge that we don't really know about because it hasn't been covered.
Is it though?
Yeah, it's a little bit more information. I wrote down that they basically, that they refused expansion. They refused
They
whatever.
refused the Imperial call.
Yeah, whatever the imps were gonna do for them, they're like, nope.
Bring
And then
them-
Empire's like just wrecked them. So,
Pro-
Prosperity and
yeah.
trading.
There were some Mandos and Rebels that turned with the Empire.
yeah, but you remember from Rebels, Satine ends up in charge. Sabine, not Satine, Sabine with the Darksaber. So maybe this is kind of a continuation of that story.
Probably.
Yeah. So when she's in charge, she basically declines Imperial rule
What show?
and
Rebels.
Rebels.
Mm.
What did I say? Clone Wars.
No, you said Rebels.
I'm just messing with you.
Behind you, hut space,
my
right by
goodness.
wild
The
space.
digression.
After giving his moving speech, our Mando once again calls out to Quill, asking for his position, begging to know. The very anxiety of not knowing where Quill is obvious in his voice, wondering if he has made it to the ship or not. A cold cut of Baby Yoda, unfortunately laying on the ground, following a scout trooper as he cuts back on his swoop Imperial bike to pick up Baby Yoda. And from there, the most stunning reveal. Finally, we are seeing...
Since episode 1, the biggest reveal.
I stopped taking notes at this point. I'm like, you know what? Done. Closing
Yep.
my laptop.
We're finally seeing the stakes of this show, and this is what people have been begging for, and that is it's a cut up from a comlink laying on the ground, and as we pan up, we have to appears what is dead Quill, our Ugnaught friend, has been killed by the Empire.
But he lives on as a Force ghost.
No,
Now,
there's no
I
Yoda to heal him this
I
time.
want to talk about
No.
what was the writers again? You're gonna hate me.
Scout
But-
troopers,
No, the creatures they ride on.
blurgs.
Blurgs. Okay, we know that the blurgs are faster than speeders.
Maybe that blurg was injured, or maybe
no.
really sad because 2 of his friends
He
just
left
got
a
carried away by
long time before the speeder bugs.
raps.
Yeah,
So
he had.
what
dinos.
Roberto is referring to is, now I couldn't remember, was it Clone Wars or was it Rebels?
Rebels is what we
Well,
That's what we
collectively
landed on.
remembered.
did. Yeah, we also saw it.
I
In,
feel like I
it's-
saw it in Clone Wars.
I feel like a
Ryloth.
It's Clone.
Ryloth.
Yeah, it's Clone Wars. Okay,
It's
so
Clone Wars,
so
yeah.
in Clone Wars,
Twi'leks are riding them.
the Twi'leks specifically give the Old Republic blurgs because they are faster than Imperial speeders at that time, Separatist speeders. But
Maybe they
it's
were Ryloth Smurgs.
blurgs.
I can't even get that right.
They're the exact same species.
Yeah, it's
They
the
didn't
same
look
thing.
anything
It's just like
different.
how Jawas are in our
Yeah,
galaxy.
Jawas are on this planet apparently too.
Yeah, they're a galaxy-wide species. We
Yeah.
don't have humans just on one planet. And
cows are in multiple states.
true.
Wonder what color eyes the Jawas had on this planet. Blue.
So, guys, with that being said, we very much appreciate you sticking around for the recap of The Mandalorian. Hopefully, we brought out some gems and some Easter eggs that you didn't yourself know. If you do have some further questions, we have a Facebook group. So if you go to facebook.com/KonKon's Cantina, at the top right of the screen, you will see a button that says Join Group. So click that group. We do have discussion that goes in there. And come in. Give us some ideas for future episodes and whatnot. So after our...
it's not the Jedi way.
Our Mando recap, of course, we are going into the highlight. We're completely foregoing news because we just have so much going on with Star Wars this week.
No, there's too much.
There's too much.
I did something today.
We did our bonus episode.
I did a little
which
thing.
We are not going to talk about.
No?
We can say what he did. We can say what he did.
We can say what he did. It's on Instagram.
Jeez,
Rub it
mean.
in. Go ahead, rub it in.
No, I got up. Well, really, rubbing what in? I got up at 3 a.m.
Lotion.
I got up at 3 a.m.
Puts the lotion on.
I got up at 3 a.m. with my sister, Becky, and my manager, Mindy. And we went to Hollywood Studios in Orlando, Florida. And we went to Galaxy's Edge and waited in line for no reason. Because today, Disney World decided to implement a new strategy in how they let people in to the new Rise of the Resistance ride. Since this ride has opened, if you get there early...
Russell Road Rise of Resistance.
Yeah, that was it.
That was a plot.
There's a lot going on here. In fact, those people who are listening who might want to ride this ride.
I'm just telling you.
No, it is a good point that what he learned today. He kind of got the shaft.
you got a paper. What was the paper about?
The paper is just, it was ironic because they required a physical piece of paper to describe how a virtual queue works. So
it's funny that you say that because I actually know why that is.
Because people are retarded and they don't know how to use data pads.
So, what was actually happening? And I'm not going to give the information why I can't confirm this.
Limitless paper in a paperless world.
Gosh, this is the cast members at the front of Rise of Resistance.
Yeah.
With the data pad. They were letting their friends and family in.
Really?
And booting people out of the queue.
Wow.
So you got to write it. You're not going to give spoilers, but
no. The only thing I was going to say before you rudely interrupted me.
Did I rudely interrupt you?
Yes,
though?
you did.
Oh,
because before this, if you got there early, you had the ability to get in and out early. So now they have changed their thing.
It was the sequence that you got there is what you got to ride.
Right. So basically, they would open the park early. Officially, it now opens at 7 a.m. for those who are interested. But now the virtual queue opens at 7 a.m. Before, it would open as you get in, so it was kind of staggered. So if you got there early, you could get an early boarding pass. So we got there. We were 10th in line. We walk through the park. They queue us in Hollywood Boulevard, which is the main avenue of Hollywood Studios. And there's literally thousands of us waiting until 7 a.m. And then we were all to go onto our Disney app and get boarding pass. Well, guess what? It's luck of the draw at that point. It's like buying tickets on Fandango. The servers went down. It was a mess.
That's what I was going to ask, the servers.
Yeah, so we didn't even we were boarding group 32, and we were literally 10th in line.
Now, the reason why
we were so upset.
Rub it in is because I had to work, and I have to go see my boss. You and your boss went on a work week to Hollywood Studios on a work day. Were you?
I went to work after, and I'm exhausted, and I haven't slept since 3 a.m. this morning. So, anyways, it was a very good ride. We won't discuss anything, but longest ride, the most technologically advanced ride I've ever been on. It actually has 3 phases. It is the most immersive experience I've been in, and what's amazing about this ride is you actually feel like you're part of the Star Wars universe. So
I can't wait to ride it. I'm waiting though because
it is worth the wait. I mean, it is incredible.
I mean, the whole early thing though. I can't. It's just
it's rough.
So doesn't even.
That's why my patience is thin, and when you guys are interrupting me, I'm not dealing with it. So.
I was gonna do it, except it has no bearing on the new movie. So once I
why
found
does that
out,
matter? It's not about the movie. It's about the experience. It's about being a Star Wars fan and having fun.
Yeah, but it's not going anywhere.
Okay, well, I did it for this podcast. And I wanted to share my experience and let people know.
But I don't want
spoilers.
spoilers. So now we can't talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
I mean, it's a ride.
Do I need to walk out of the?
That you don't care about.
I gotta walk out of the.
5 seconds to walk out of the room.
Yeah, Roberto, you're in the hot seat.
Time for an embarrassing story.
Tell it.
Okay. So my embarrassing story, I was with my wife. We did a couples massage.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love where this is going already.
PG podcast.
Yeah, no, it's PG.
Already
No, it's
good.
PG. This wasn't in Chinatown. Calm down.
Oh, let's go off that tangent.
Oh, I'm never coming on the show again. Anyways, so pretty much we do, I'm getting the massage done and whatnot.
Oh, already.
Uh-huh.
All right. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Do you
That's
have?
not even
Yeah.
the
Wait.
embarrassing
I got a question.
That's the end of the story.
I got a question. Do you have clothes on underneath the towel?
I have my underwear on.
Okay, continue.
Yeah.
You're doing it wrong.
You're not getting your money's worth.
Yeah, bro.
Well, either way, I was already feeling kind of gassy.
Oh
And
man.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is yeah.
Never
Yeah.
trust a
Developed.
It was building up, and I had fallen asleep at one point.
What time of day is this?
This is maybe 6 or 7 o'clock.
At night?
Yeah, Thursday.
Oh, okay. Spa's open early, so
Yeah, well,
you've
this
had
was during the weekday,
you've had
yeah.
breakfast and you've had lunch.
Yeah. So I've had a buildup of things.
Okay.
Okay.
What did you have for breakfast?
I
and
don't
lunch that day?
remember.
Chipotle.
No.
Tijuana Flats.
Tijuana Flats.
No. God,
If
no.
you want to sponsor this video, no.
Yeah. Taco
we
Tuesday.
won't sponsor Tijuana's Flats, right? That's-
No.
Okay.
Unless they pay us.
So
Yeah.
she tells me to turn
tacos.
over because now they're gonna work on my feet.
Uh-huh.
I saw that look.
Uh-oh.
They're gonna work on my feet, and as I'm turning, I just let one loose. I cannot hold it anymore. I have lost complete control, and the lady reaction is, "Oops!"
What is this control?
Oh, yes.
And I'm
Control
just
of
like,
come on, she hasn't
flatulence,
heard that
or is this
before?
control of bowels? Let's clarify.
No, nothing came out. It's just
This
air.
isn't a flat story.
Well, something did come out.
Well, no. I heard that story.
Was
in the
there
last podcast,
was
so-
there was it an audible?
Oh, it was audible.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
my-
obviously, she went, ooh.
Let's just say
If you could
Maybe the
reproduce
scent-
the sound with
This
your mouth.
was an Asian spa.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was.
That was it?
It was
delicate.
modest.
It was, but I mean, the room is quiet already.
Yeah, but dude,
You
that
know,
wasn't a fart.
But
We're totally.
I
gonna
thought you
add
were like-
spa
she was
music.
not professional.
You know,
I mean, come on. I'm pretty sure she's always massaging people, and they let
People
off.
fart
some-
like crazy. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. The other guy didn't react. Whatever. So my
The other
wife-
guy. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
We said
The
back
other
up.
guy?
You said you were at a couples massage.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
the
You
guy
said my
massaging
wife
guy's
was getting a
wife.
massage. I'll say.
Clarify.
Thanks a lot for that. Yeah, let's clarify that.
Let's go off that tangent.
So I let one loose. My wife reacts to it. She doesn't say anything, but later on, she's just sitting in the car, and I go, "Yeah, I did it." It was like a moment of silence, and I go, "Yeah, I let one loose." And
You
she's
had
like,
to
"That's
get
what
it
that
out,
is."
just like the
I was
fart
like,
in the
"Look,
spa.
it's a natural thing that
Takes
happens."
you to the back
okay?
room.
And
Just let one loose during the massage.
let's just say she should have reacted professionally. I mean, come on.
I thought she did though. That's funny though.
I mean, yeah, it's funny. but
Listen,
the other,
what
I
would
said,
have been more awkward? Would have been her being like, "Ooh, oops," and you're like, "Okay, listen, it's out in the open, just like the gas that is now protruding into this poor woman's nostrils," or is it, "Oh my God, does she smell it?"
Here's a better question.
Well, there's a
You
lot of
just took the
aroma in
words out of
here.
my
I
mouth.
have been wanting
Was
to be
it-
a masseuse since
was
I
it a
was 6
silent
years
but
old.
deadly, or was it like
no, it was
it's a loud,
audible.
but-
It was audible. It was more audible than deadly.
That's
Uh,
better.
okay.
But there
honestly.
is, yeah, it is
I would
better.
rather that loud, but
There's so
not
much-
be stench.
There's so much aroma going on in the room already because whatever they have for the scented
Yeah.
stuff.
They're
So it
definitely
would've-
diffusing some.
they're diffusing a lot going on there. And then afterwards, I tell my wife, "Hey, let's go have some McDonald's." Like I had more to that.
Oh man.
The lavender scent was helping there. I like that story. That's a good one. I've never gotten. I'm not like a big fan of massages, but I feel like I need some now. Like
I highly recommend it. It's
yeah,
definitely
I
worth it.
need to get some.
I
more.
got
actually-
Just don't have it
a
in soda or
medical
something.
massage from this Indian lady that had hands like straight stones.
Did
it was
hurt?
the most excruciating thing I've ever experienced, but it fixed my neck.
Yeah.
It was
See-
not pleasurable. It's not like what you see in a show, like where there are music and candles burning.
Deep
This was
tissue,
like
deep tissue.
break your neck,
Yeah.
but it actually does work.
And that's the weird thing with me is like I've been in some ridiculous accidents. I've broken ribs, I've shattered my left arm, I've broken collarbones, I've cut the tip of my left thumb off, I've had flesh-eating viruses, I've burned 35% of my
That
body.
should be your embarrassing story.
Well, it's not really that
What,
embarrassing.
his
though,
life? Like,
No.
just listed
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
You just listed all these things
Oh
that happened to
man,
you.
listen,
like,
I'm accident prone.
It's
My
gotta
point,
be better than a 6-year-old burrito mishap.
He's got 4.75 fingers.
I heard
on
that
one
story.
hand.
That was good.
My point is I've had some very ridiculous things when it comes to pain, but like massaging and stuff, man, that stuff gets me. I can't. It hurts. I can't do
Anyway, I suffer from migraines. A lot of people do. And I do monthly massages. And they actually do help with my migraines. So I do recommend them.
It's
absolutely.
it's pressure relief.
All right, it's official. We are a Massage Pro podcast.
Just saying, you can choose the level of pressure they don't have to go so hard on you.
Yeah, my buddy
to
Chris,
share.
my buddy Chris Hawley, he lives up in the Panhandle in Florida, and his younger brother Colby, he
Shout out.
Yeah, he was doing deep tissue stuff, and he wanted to get into Chinese medicine, and the threshold of how many years you had to do to get into Chinese medicine was very high. And anyway, Colby had worked on my neck once, and he was a massage therapist, and it helps. It's crazy. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining the KonKon's Spa podcast. With that being
The
said,
Tulik bathhouse.
Podcast.
you are going to be hearing this episode on Monday, of course, our regular Mandalorian day. Now, when the Mandalorian is over, we will still be releasing regular episodes on Monday.
Speaking of,
We are still going to be releasing some bonus episodes. We have a live episode
January 8th.
coming up, as Justin just stated. It is going to be in Sanford, Florida. So please come and support us. It's going to be at 7 p.m. That is a Wednesday. And we're going to be doing this at
Wops Hops Brewery.
So come, drink some beer, say hello to us, show some support, guys. We know that you love us, and we very much appreciate it, guys.
We love you.
Yeah, you have no idea. Like, seriously, like we're
Seriously, we
It's a lot of
stalk
love.
all of you individually on social media.
we're past 1,000 downloads.
Why haven't you liked that one picture?
Yeah, guys, we're past
Robert.
1,000 downloads, and we couldn't be
Whoops.
there without you guys. We very much appreciate it. So, with that being said, you're listening to this on Monday. We will also be releasing, which hopefully you listened to beforehand, is we will be releasing the Rise of
It's
Skywalker
already out for them.
non-spoiler.
Still already out for them.
So, exactly. Because it's
Listen
coming
to
out
it.
on Monday. Please, go and listen to it. We also have a bonus episode before Rise of Skywalker. So, with that being said, I was your host. It's KonKon.
I'm Justin Baker.
Who
That's
forgets?
it.
That's it.
Nope,
Oh,
that's
just
it.
Justin
wow.
Baker.
Keeping it clean.
Russell Allen, Magistrate.
And
Roberto Carmona, a.k.a. Jedi Carmona.
and
Bye.
see ya.
Laters.